Fucking bullshit. Fucking spaghetti bullshit.
What are you bitching about today, TJ? What's wrong today?
I'm bitching about fucking spaghetti, Paul's ego.
What's wrong with spaghetti?
Why the I don't know. There's really nothing wrong with spaghetti.
Skitty and butter.
Well, I wouldn't want that. Fuck that butter shit.
Why not?
Because I won't make
Honey Boo Boo Child's favorite is skitty with butter, TJ.
Has that little thing not died of a heart attack yet?
Little thing she's doing fine as far as I know. Her mom is not great. Like Mama June has had some problems, I think.
Mama June, you're gonna have you some skitty and butter, little baby boo boo child, whatever. All right, good stuff. Time for some salty banana. That's not quit trying to make the salty banana thing, bro.
The salty banana.
The salty banana ain't gonna happen, bro.
Why not?
I don't know.
It's a good a name as any, you know.
All right, fine.
The salty banana, you know.
The salty banana has come. Good stuff. So I was gonna I have a thing on Circus Freaks and all that, but I wanted to look at this fucking hilarious moment from this Biden interview with 60 Minutes.
Oh shit!
That had me laughing my ass off, dude.
All right, I gotta see this because I ain't seen nothing with Biden.
Oh yeah,
recently.
well this dude, 60 Minutes guy, asks him just point blank, like, so you know, like a lot of people say you're too fucking senile to be president. What do you make of that?
And let me guess, he gives an answer that is just like senility in flesh form.
I mean, it's not quite that bad, but like it's not reassuring.
Oh,
like, all right, you'll see.
Mr. President, you are the oldest president ever.
Pretty good shape, huh?
Which leads to my next question. You are more aware of this than anyone. Some people ask whether you are fit for the job. And when you hear that, I wonder what you think.
Watch me. I mean, honest to God, that's all I think. Watch me. If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then you know, that's one thing. It's another thing of just watch and you know, keep my schedule, do what I'm doing. I think that you know, I don't, when I sit down with our NATO allies and keep them together, I don't have them saying, wait a minute, how old are you? What did they say? You know, I mean, it's a matter of, you know, that old expression, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. I mean, I respect the fact that people would say, you know, you're old. But I think it relates to how much energy you have and whether or not the job you're doing is one consistent with what any person of any age would be able to do.
Well, I'm assured. I don't know about you.
Dude, I don't ever want Biden to ask me to eat his pudding or whatever the fuck ever again, bro.
You know, I was thinking like, you know, like if he was like my grandpa or something and it was like Thanksgiving, you know, and you know, he gave an answer like that or whatever, I'd be like, oh, you know, grandpa's he's still pretty sharp, you know, he's
still
not
with it.
Right. But I'm like, as president, that's kind of like there's so many moments there where he, instead of saying something specific, just kind of vaguely, you know, just watch me and you'll see, you know, that when they met the, you know, the NATO and they don't, you know, they're not like, oh, you know, so, yeah, so fuck you, basically, you know. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds great, buddy.
Watch me, dude.
Watch, watch, bitch.
That's part of the problem, Joe, is that people are watching you.
Is it just word soup to anyone else? I mean, like, I kind of got it, but I mean, all he basically said is, you know, listen, just watch me. If you look at my energy level and the stuff I'm managing, then I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and I don't think that my my age is a factor. But instead of saying that, you know, I respect people who say, you know, that I'm, you know, I mean, this is that I'm old or whatever, but, well, you know, just watch me, you know, just see the way that, you know, just look at it, you know, you'll see. It's like, all right, bud.
Hey,
You're not.
Orange Man
it didn't
was
work.
bad. Remember, congrats, leftists. That pile of senility is infinitely better than Trump. Like, there's no question about it, dude.
What a sad, what a sad fucking state
I know.
of affairs. All right.
That's the best. That's the only defense you'll get out of me is that, you know.
I'll
like,
tell you what, though.
Probably rather have Biden than Trump.
But you know, the thing is, though, about this fucker, he also last night said, like, basically that if China tries to attack Taiwan, we're gonna fight China. Basically, like, not even just like the Ukraine support thing. We're gonna like literally go and like fucking have war with China and shit. And I'm just and like then the White House is like, no. That's not what he meant. That's not what he. Nope.
I mean,
that's not our policy. All right. Well,
they've been rattling that saber for a couple of fucking presidents now, like real hard.
oh yeah.
So it's an inevitability. It's just a matter of time.
Well, you know, the thing is that we got so much fucking manufacturing going on there, especially these fucking semiconductors and microchips and shit. It's fucking, I don't know. It's like all of the semiconductor eggs are in this Taiwan basket, and China's like, we're thinking that's ours, you guys. It's like,
I don't think it is, but
I don't know if it's really worth fucking scrapping with China over. I mean, you know, maybe you just fucking start building some shit elsewhere. I don't know. It's not.
Yeah, just thing. Set up go to one of these flyover states. You know, like make Kansas the new semiconductor capital of the world.
Yeah,
you know,
Wyoming or something. You know,
why not?
Yeah, fucking do it.
Like we're America, we could do that shit. Let's do it.
You got big chip companies here like Nvidia and shit, but they design the chips here, but they don't manufacture them here. It's too expensive to manufacture them here. Way cheaper to do it in Taiwan. Well, is it not going to be cheaper when China takes that shit, is it?
Nope.
Anyway, this is not our politics show, unless we have a politics topic, which we don't. But I felt like that was a fun little thing. So let's. I don't know if we've done. I think we might have done some touched on some Circus Freaks here before. I know that we've certainly gone into like carnival things. I love these kind of episodes because we get to act like we're, you know, incensed at like, oh my God, these people, they used to be so exploited. But meanwhile, we can exploit them in the process, you know?
Yeah, you get to look at them and gawk at them like everybody else, you know?
Right, but we get to have this haughty, like, we're so much better than that now sort of air, you know?
Right.
Which is like, you get it both ways, which is pretty cool. So a lot of people, I was going to fucking get a sexy female ringmaster for my first image, but then I decided, like, you know what? People are always criticizing me for never having any sexy dudes or whatever. So I got this guy. Here's your ringmaster. There you go. Boom.
I mean, he's not all that sexy though.
Sexy enough, Paul. Someone out there is fapping to it. That's all that matters. Somebody somewhere.
It's got like a sunken chest. What's wrong with him?
I don't know. I don't think it's sunken, Paul.
It's got a sunken chest.
I think it's just the contrast between the black collar of this to the white chest. You know. I know it's totally off topic, but can you play the Video Game Underground song? No, we can't. Thank you for the money, though. Thanks for the $20, but no, we can't. I'll sing it. I'll sing a bar from it for you. Video Game Underground has the best video games in town. There you go. That's enough. That's all you get.
That's more than enough.
Uh-oh. You got this guy.
Wow.
Go on, you. Get gone, buddy. Fucking piece of shit. Have to fucking put the fucking slow mode on or whatever. Thanks to that guy.
Yep. Turn on the slow mode.
Because you guys can't handle it. Well, most of you can. But unfortunately, it only takes one fucking cretinous bag of shit. You're welcome. It only takes one cretinous bag of shit to fucking ruin it for everybody, doesn't it?
That's why there's always one cretinous bag of shit, because there's somebody that's that desperate for like attention in their lives.
Maybe someone will pay attention to me if I act like a total fucking twat. They will. It's not going to be good. It's not going to scratch whatever itch you have in your life.
It's still attention, though.
Whatever you're missing, whatever you need that you're not getting, that ain't gonna that's not gonna do it, just so you know.
Still attention.
Yeah.
You still notice me. You still pay attention to me.
Yeah, that's true. All right, slow mode is on, 22 seconds, but no one can spam. There you go. All right. So I got to warn you guys, some of these freaks can be, pretty distressing in appearance. You see them.
I knew as soon as I saw the topic of this episode that I was not going to like about 90% of what I saw today. So,
yeah.
Because on top of it, it's a TJ episode. So.
Right. So, a lot of them can be, I'm not trying to body shame anybody here or anything, but they can be kind of disconcerting to look at, it's the twisted, mangled form that vaguely resembles humanity, but it's like just a little off. So,
we're gonna, oh man.
There you go.
What the fuck is wrong with that guy?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
He's wearing a Mastodon shirt, so that's a big warning sign too. Big red flag.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to trust a guy like this.
Nah, he's up to something. I can tell. Look at him. Look at those big
shit.
Those big meat wad hands.
What a desecration of humanity.
Anyway, so I thought we'd talk about the sex lives of these Siamese twins.
Oh yeah, because I've always wondered this about Siamese twins and shit.
Yeah,
when one of them fucks, the other has to be involved. I
always wonder about the ones that share an asshole, but one's gay.
Right.
Where they're like, I'm a bottom. It's like, well, I'm not. Stop it. Stop getting dudes to fuck us in the ass. I don't like it.
That would suck, man. Holy shit.
What if you share a dick, You got one dick. Oh.
Well, there's those there's a pair of girls that's two-headed. They're joined at the chest or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they've got separate heart and lungs and shit, but they share a stomach and intestines and plumbing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're married.
Yeah.
So
are they both married to one? That's not legal, even if you're Siamese twins, right?
I think it's legal because you're technically two different people. They both,
What's the best hangover cure? Don't drink.
Yeah. Water is the best hangover cure.
I love how these dudes are named Chang and Ang too.
Chang and Ang.
Yeah. Not only do you have to be Siamese twins, you have to have rhyming names,
Chang and Ang.
So when it was announced that conjoined twins Chang and Ang Bunker, best known as the Siamese twins, which by the way I think is where this term comes from, were planning to come to France in 1831. French authorities were so afraid of the effect of the men then 20 would have on France's women, they barred their entrance into the country.
What?
Yeah, they were like, uh-oh. These conjoined twins, all our women are going to want to fuck them. So, this ain't going to work. I don't know. I don't fucking know, Paul. It's a different time.
Man, that's
situation. Yeah, great. Good stuff.
Those people, they're very insecure.
Yeah.
If they think their women are just not going to want them anymore because there's two Siamese dudes that are joined at the chest or whatever coming. I don't know. Is that what they thought women wanted? A dude that was
I don't
multiple
know.
Dudes?
France has always been a weird motherfucking country. I read a story today. I was looking at the news and shit. And I read a story some PM in France got caught smacking his bitch up.
Mm-hmm.
Smacked his woman. And all the politicians in France are like, you know what? He's all right. We've all smacked a bitch now and then.
Every once in a while, you have to smack a bitch.
You have to smack the bitch and show who the boss is. This is the way. And a bunch of feminists are like, no. Which obviously, they have a point. I don't know why I'm giving them the voice.
I think if you slap your domestic partner, that should be the end of your political career.
Yeah, you should probably at least I don't know. Probably should go away for at least a few years. I'm not sure.
Yeah, go away for long enough to sell the idea that you are a changed person.
Right. Come back 3 or 4 years later, I was wrong. Write a book about it, my journey to change.
Yep.
All that,
That's the way.
So according to authors Joseph Andrew Orser's new book, the lives of Chang and Ang. The bunkers, born in Siam in 1811, are connected at the midsection by a fleshy band several inches long. So, I mean, like, these guys were not even, like, super connected, but they just had, like, this little weird fleshy band that connected them. And I guess there must have been some vital shit in there because...
I was going to say, like, because if it was just, like, I would get that snipped for sure.
The age-old question, would you let a girl romp with your brother? The fuck are you talking about? Oh, like if you're connected? I mean, what, you're gonna fucking like be a cock blocker just because I mean, like, you got to get over it at some point. Like, you know, like these dudes probably don't have much of a sense of like, they're like literally conjoined, all right? Like, they're not like, ooh, my brother's dick. They literally fucking are like, they share a body, okay? Like, you know what I mean? They probably don't have that squeamishness. So they were spotted by in their teens by a British merchant who thought they were some strange animal.
Huh?
Yeah, he saw him. He's like, "What kind of weird, strange animal is that?"
This is what I'm talking about, man. What is the like people back then? Are we to believe that people back then didn't know the human form or something?
Yeah, they just looked at it like, "What the fuck is that thing?" So when they were 18, he made them a deal to bring them to America and exhibit them as a public curiosity. So they're like, sure, why not? You know, this has always been an impediment to us. Might as well fucking make us some money or something. So upon their arrival, they were subject to countless medical inquiries. One doctor testing their connecting band with needles to determine sensitivity found that both boys drew away from punctures at the middle of the band, whereas at half an inch or more from the center, only the twin on that side felt the pain. So there was like a little bit of an area where they kind of had like both received the pain signal, but like if you went, too far one way or the other, it was just like, oh shit. He also found that when one experienced a sour taste, the other did as well. And that tickling one of them resulted in the other demanding a stop to it. So more than their connective similarities, though, the public wondered about the boys' potential sex lives. Yeah. If you tickle one, the other laughs. If one eats a sour candy, the other's lip puckers. But yeah, who gives a shit about any of that? I want to know about fucking. I want to know about them fucking you guys. The result of poor chakra control, attempting Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Yep, sure. Sounds great. Thanks.
Whatever
for $10.
you say, partner.
You're right. Let us know more nuggets of wisdom for $10 a pop, buddy. The prospect of twins engaging in sexual relations with women disturbed sensibilities, Orser writes. Concerns existed about the impact that the twins' conjoinedness might have on women of childbearing age. Yeah, that's what women go crazy for.
Yeah, all women are looking at dudes going like, man, if there was just another dude attached to that dude, he would be the best dude,
It's like, oh my God, 2 dicks for the price of one. That's really what it boils down to, right?
Yeah, I guess women
that's
are
what
they were worried about.
Women are going to see this as 2 dicks for the price of one.
No. Yeah, this is an excuse to live out their fantasies of multiple partners.
Yeah,
but
and
not breaking any rules. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, and these people who are obsessed with it are probably like sitting there like, let me tell you how it is, They get in there and they're supposed to start rubbing their hands all over. Like basically it's like a big sexual fantasy,
And French people had strange ideas about women.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, maybe the French women are strange enough to be that way. Maybe they are like, yes.
I'm sure that like, there's probably a lot of women that are into that on some level, but like to be worried about the women of your country.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like
the point where it's like,
Siamese
no, you're not
twin
allowed
show?
in. Get out.
I don't get it.
In one extreme example, when a woman in Kentucky gave birth to a stillborn conjoined twins, she claimed she had seen numerous representations of the twins in newspaper advertisements around the time she conceived her children, which affected her imagination. Oh, yeah, that's how that works.
Oh, so she saw a Siamese twin and therefore had a stillborn Siamese twin.
Yep, that's how it works,
Got it.
Because it was all in her imagination at the time,
Right.
And it messed up her whole birth cycle.
Right.
Her body was like, oh, time to make a conjoined twin, you know? The brothers gained fame as freaks and saw opportunity as Americans. After a decade on the sideshow circuit, having saved some money, they retired, bought land in North Carolina, set out to create lives for themselves as proper Southern gentlemen. They bought property, became U.S. citizens, and even took on slaves. Ironic, considering that throughout their early lives here, many questioned whether, despite their firm denials, they were slaves themselves. Apparently they weren't, because they were able to buy land and do all this shit. So in 1843, Chang and Eng married, respectively, sisters Adelaide and Sarah Yates, daughters of a respected local landowner. While the girls had a fair share of suitors, the brothers had gotten to know them over several years, often visiting upon their return from business travels and befriending the entire family. These are some charming ass twins, man.
See, look what happens though. Americans with all this tolerance and shit, they're like, sure, come on in. And this one dude loses both daughters.
Right.
The Siamese twins. You know?
I mean, so apparently the French knew what they were talking about, because these guys came in, hustled and bustled before they knew it. And you know that these guys are wife swapping too. You know that, like,
Oh, well, you'd almost have to.
Yeah, they ain't respectively.
And they're sisters,
Adelaide
dude.
And yeah,
because you know what else has got to be going on? A little bit of scissoring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The result. Oh, wait. Did we already read that? Go away. Oh no, there's a new one. Would a conjoined twin female get pregnant in both uteruses? I don't know. If they had to, I don't know.
If they had two uteruses and one vagina, it's possible.
I guess that's.
But if they had separate plumbing, that wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. That seems like it'd be really unlikely. But I don't know. Stranger things have happened. That's all I can say to you. When the couples made their intentions to marry known by riding together in an open wagon, one report of the time cites how all hell broke loose. A few men smashed through windows at the girl's father's farmhouse, and some of the neighbors threatened to burn his crops if he did not promise to control his daughters.
Holy shit, dude. They had the people had like a Frankenstein villager moment. You know what I mean?
The local media reacted to the union with jibes. The Carolina Watchman, in a post titled Marriage Extraordinaire, wished for the marriage to be as happy as it will be close. Another paper inquired as to whether the women ought to be indicted for marrying a quadruped.
Huh?
I don't know, man.
Oh, shit, man.
Northern newspapers were appalled as abolitionist papers placed responsibility for the Union squarely on a South contaminated by the sin of slavery. Yeah, I don't think that had much to do with it, bro. Slavery's bad and all, but I don't think it was like
the anti-slavery people even got this one wrong. Like, look, this is just proof of their degeneracy.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't see the inherent kind of irony and advocating for the rights of one people while completely and utterly neglecting and trampling the rights of another.
One paper even called the marriage bestial and referred to the tolerant local residents as a community sunk below the very sodomites in lasciviousness.
Holy shit, man.
For their part, though, the two couples, and they were unquestionably two distinct couples, coming to live in separate homes with the brothers alternating half weeks in each, sought little more than normal lives. But many among the public and the media have barely brought themselves to tolerate the brothers' existence, found the concept of intimate relations between them and normal women a step too far. Each wife gave birth in 1844 with no details surviving about how the couples conducted their intimacy. It's worth noting that the brothers' first children were born 6 days apart and a later pair 8 days. They would go on to have an astonishing 21 children between them. When the twins in need of money later returned to touring exhibitions, this time bringing two of their children along, many refused to accept this unconventional family. As they traveled through England, some in the British press doubted whether the family was even real, Orsa writes. For some, it was too disgusting to imagine these human monsters as husbands or fathers. Man, people sucked. In 1870, Chang suffered a stroke that paralyzed his right side. The side closest to his brother. Eng nursed him back to health. Relative as Chang tied up his right leg in a sling and using both a crutch and his brother's arm went about his daily routine. But he never returned to full health and took to drinking. A lingering cough later turned vicious, and he died on January 17th, 1874. His brother, complaining of ill health, asked his son to check on his brother. Told that Chang had passed away, Aang replied, "Then I am going." Over the next hour, he suffered intense pain and distress, a cold sweat over his body. The only notice he took of his dead twin was to move his body nearer to him. 2.5 hours after losing his brother, Aang Bunker also died.
So I guess they were connected by some vital shit.
Oh, yeah. Because when one died, the other was like, all right, well, see you in hell. Blech.
Yep.
I meant in my earlier question, if you get one twin pregnant with the others, would the other's blood work also indicate pregnant? I'm not a scientist.
I don't know. I mean, if they share a circulatory system, then I would imagine yes.
Maybe. I don't know. Ask a scientist, bro. I'm not a scientist. I don't fucking know. Look at this fucking loser, eh? Look at this fucking loser.
Why is he a loser, TJ?
He lost because he has no arms or legs, dude.
Yeah, but
He
he
lost them all.
didn't lose anything. Like, he didn't lose them. I assume he was born with no arms and legs.
I don't know. Yeah, that's true. He was. This is Prince Randian, also known as Pillow Man, or Snake Man, or the Human Torso, or Caterpillar Man. Had a lot of nicknames. He was a Guyanese American circus performer with tetraamelia. Tetraamelia syndrome is a rare congenital disorder that is characterized by the absence of all 4 limbs. So this dude was born on October 12th, 1871 in Demerara. Okay. British Guinea. His birth name is unknown, so they don't even know this dude's real name. They just know he was Pillow Man, Snake Man, the Human Torso, Caterpillar Man, bunch of other stuff.
Prince something, right?
Prince Randian, yeah. But no one knows what this dude's real name is, I guess. What is this? Well, it's great that this thing of the past, we don't liken gay and trans people to pedos, bestiality, and oh wait. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would probably still be freaked out by conjoined twins getting married. Probably wouldn't be quite as much of a backlash in the media as there would be nowadays.
There was a ton of fascination with it. There are those 2 girls that are joined way up high. Like, they're basically a 2-headed person. They share arms and legs. So they've got 2 arms, 2 pairs of legs, but 2 heads, and they're married to different people. So
there's another guy that managed to get married and stuff. So despite having no arms or legs, Randian still married and had 5 children. His wife, Princess Sarah, apparently loved him dearly. He was actually a highly intelligent dude. He was able to speak several languages, including English, Hindi, French, and German. He supported his family by working for various carnivals, circuses, and museums, normally in the New York and New Jersey area.
That's always like a downside. Like, it's one of those things that you struggle about, because it's like the people that were born like this, them having an option to like actually support their family. How do you argue against that, even if it is something as horrible as like putting them on display?
Yeah, I don't know. The 17th chromosome for sure. It's that one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, especially back in these times, I mean, like, this dude, if you're a guy with no arms and no legs, I mean, obviously, even today, you have some limitations. You know,
at least in a lot of the world, there are like government programs set up that'll subsidize your life a little bit and give you some,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, back then, it was like you'd end up a beggar on the street.
Yeah, so like you could beg or you could be gawked at as a circus freak, you know? So the circus freak life is probably a little bit more glamorous than just being a beggar on the street. Not only that, but like, you know, you're a sitting duck, you know, like anybody who wants to take your stuff is going to be able to take it pretty fucking easily. You have no arms or legs to defend yourself with. So, yeah, not the greatest fucking, situation to be in. But yeah,
you make enough money at the freak show, you could hire yourself a goon with a tire iron, man.
Oh yeah. Here's a recreation. So for his act, Randian wore a one-piece wool garment that fit tightly over his body, giving him the appearance of a caterpillar, snake, or potato. Not three things that I don't really think of as looking that much alike, by the way.
Yeah,
not like caterpillar, snake, or potato.
I mean, caterpillar and snake, I can see,
sure.
You know, kind of, but like potato.
Yeah, I don't know. He would move himself around by the stage by wiggling his hips and shoulders. His best known ability was lighting a cigarette using only his lips, but he was also capable of painting and writing by holding a brush or a stylus with his lips. He could also shave himself by securing a razor in a wooden block.
That seems dangerous.
Well, he did what he did, man. He kept all the props and materials used for his act in a wooden box he reportedly constructed, painted, and affixed a lock to all by himself. So, yeah, that's pretty fucking impressive.
I see.
So he died at 7 p.m. on December 19th, 1934 at the age of 63 of a heart attack. And, I've shown this clip multiple times. I've always liked this fucking clip, but here he is in the movie Freaks that ruined director Todd Browning's promising career. He never worked in Hollywood again because this movie had such a gigantic backlash against it. People hated the fact that it featured actual circus freaks. But here he is doing his cigarette trick.
I kind of peeked out of the corner of my eye and got Madame Tetralini giving us the once over. I guess she knows she's got a good act, one of the best in the business. It isn't only our act that gets them. We've got personality. We know how to sell the stuff.
He rolled that himself, too, by the way.
Never heard such
Rolled the cigarette with his mouth.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something that everybody around here don't know. We're only killing time with this circus. We've got bigger time to follow, and we can do it, too. Well, catch a rack tomorrow night. We got something new.
I mean, that is pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, people that are like this, there's a dude like this. His name is Brawly Legs. And he's he's a fighting game guy. Like he does, he plays fighting games at a pretty high level. It'd beat pretty much anybody with his face and his tongue.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. I think this came out in 1933. If you look into the making of this movie, yeah, like Todd Browning, he directed Bela Lugosi. Oh, it's 1932. It says right there. Yeah, he directed Dracula, and his career was like up on the rise. And then he wanted to do this movie, and there was such a gigantic backlash against it. People hated it so much that it just basically destroyed his career. Does the Torso Man have a cork, TJ? I don't know. How would he wipe his ass? That's a good question.
Just
I don't know if
let's like have some toilet paper affixed to like a post that you scoot back up against,
Yeah, he just like hangs a rag from a pole or something. I don't know. So we have a bearded lady, right? Lots of bearded ladies. It's not the only one, but it's one of the early ones, I guess. This is like
she has
the original.
She has a very distinctive beard for a lady.
Right.
No.
This is Annie Jones. She was P.T. Barnum's bearded lady, yet still died little more than a circus freak in the eyes of the business that chewed her up. Yeah. So despite what the Hugh Jackman version of things might have you believe, P.T. Barnum was not some like loving dude that was like, I love my freaks so much. Just because they are different does not, he was a piece of shit.
He was horrible, yes.
He was a horrible man that exploited and brutalized people, made a bunch of money off them, didn't fucking share a red cent with them. Basically typical businessman, honestly.
Right.
So bearded women have been a sideshow staple since time immemorial, often billed at the top of any circus freaks. And Annie Jones, the bearded lady of P.T. Barnum's Greatest Show on Earth, was one of the most successful bearded ladies of all time. Yet that didn't stop her life from being marked by tragedy. So there you go. This is a French poster advertising her here. Annie Jones was born in Virginia.
It's like Tommy Chong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to smoke a joint with her?
She was born in Virginia in 1865, reportedly exiting her mother's womb with her chin already covered in hair. Probably not true. Her parents' initial shock having an infant daughter with facial hair of a full-grown man quickly faded after they realized they had not been presented with a unique money. They had been presented with a unique money-making opportunity. So they're like, at first they're like, oh my god, what the hell? And then they're like, wait a minute. Did
a little math in their head. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a fucking goddamn minute. So after she was about a year old, her parents pushed her into her first P.T. Barnum's exhibition in New York City. The tiny girl was billed as the infant Asieu, a reference to the famously hairy brother of Jacob in the Old Testament. I don't know how that's pronounced. Esau, S-U, I don't know. Furthermore,
Esau.
Jones Esau. That's probably right. Furthermore, Jones was described as the most marvelous specimen of hirsute development known since the days of Esau, and thus began her career in show business before she could even walk. She was such a popular attraction that Barnum offered her mother a 3-year contract at a rate of $150, but Jones would serve as a sideshow attraction for far longer than the term of that initial contract. She went to, as time went on, the infant Esau grew into Esau Lady and eventually the Bearded Lady. Along the way, Jones appealed to audiences by playing up her womanly aspects in contrast to her facial hair, dressing in fashionable feminine clothes, and learning how to play the mandolin. The contrast worked, and Annie Jones proved one of Barnum's most memorable acts.
So you'd think she would, he would have taken good care of her and, given her a lot of profit sharing and stuff, and
nope,
made sure she was set up in her life. And all
we
that.
I don't do that shit. Fuck these freaks. So it's still unknown what exactly caused Annie Jones' condition, although it was very likely hirsutism, a condition that causes coarse hairs in females in male-like distribution, estimated to affect around 5 to 10% of women. Obviously not to this extent, usually. Indeed, although Jones may have been the most famous bearded lady of the era, thanks in part to her being in Barnum's show, she was certainly not the only one. Julia Pastrani, born in 1834, was a Mexican woman whose body was nearly entirely covered in thick, dark hair, touted as the ape woman. Pastrana was another minor celebrity of the Victorian age who toured Europe not only throughout her life, but as a mummified specimen after her death in 1860 as well.
Oh, God, man. That's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, you get
even in death, you are not free from the freak show.
Yeah, you don't have to pay her anymore. Like Pastrana, Annie Jones lived a short life, one that hardly gave her a chance to flourish outside of the sideshow tent. Jones did marry a man named Richard Elliott, a sideshow barker, the man who shouted at passers-by in an attempt to lure them to see the attractions in 1880. But because she was only 15 at the time, whereas he was a full-grown man, he concealed her age, and her parents disapproved of the marriage. Nevertheless, the marriage lasted 15 years until the two divorced in 1895. Not long after, Jones married a man named William Donovan. The two decided to travel as a duo act for a while and toured Europe together before he unexpectedly passed away just 4 years later. Rather than continue on her own, Jones opted to return to the only home she had ever really known and rejoin P.T. Barnum's Greatest Show on Earth. Although Annie owed all of her fame and fortune to being billed as a Barnum freak, it was this point in her career where she campaigned against the use of the word to describe sideshow performers. However, she passed away of tuberculosis at age 37 on a visit to her mother, having known no other life than that of a freak. So there you go.
Dude, why? So I had a thought while reading this. Oh, go ahead and read. Yeah, bye, TJ Paul, blah, blah, yeah.
Poor Rule, it was nice to see you live. Thanks for challenging for me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, great. Thanks for the money. Thanks for the money. Thanks for watching. We love you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, sorry, Paul. You were saying something?
So right now, everybody's all into femboys.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But what about mask girls, dude?
Oh, yeah.
You never hear anybody go like, oh, yeah, dude. I want like mask girls McDonald's or whatever,
Yeah.
Femboy Hooters and mask girl McDonald's.
Mask girl.
Wonder why
masculine doesn't shorten as well as feminine.
No, it doesn't.
Corn Pop, you son of a bitch. Do not do it. Yeah. Yeah, where is that?
I don't know.
Get it going. I want to see this chick fucking bring me some McDonald's or whatever.
Mask girl McDonald's, dude.
Muscle girls. Muscles don't. That's like you can be that's not the same thing. Muscular and masculine are not the same thing.
No.
Right? Don't fucking get it. Don't get your wires crossed. Tom Girl Outback is already a meme. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or Tomboy.
I'm not really
Tomboy, sorry. Yeah. Get with the memes, Paul.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Spy on me all you want. So this is another one that was.
You want a website named Grunge, knowing what you're up to?
Yeah.
Well,
The Untold Truth of Schlitzie The Pinhead. Another one featured in the movie Freaks. In the annals of sideshow performance history, there are a few figures as famous as Schlitzie, a so-called pinhead. Schlitzie's unusual appearance brought swarms of audiences to the morally questionable. I don't need you to question the morality, okay? We get it, all right?
Yeah, we can do that ourselves.
Circus Sideshow, he called home. A major appearance in Freaks, a film by Dracula director Todd Browning, has made an extremely recognizable figure. Even if you're not familiar with Schlitzie himself, you might know the pop culture figure has inspired figures he has inspired, such as Pepper from the Asylum and Freak Show seasons of American Horror Story.
Yeah,
But-
that portrayal in Asylum is pretty good, although it's a normal person playing the role, like, and they did makeup and stuff, but it really is not anywhere near as striking as Schlitzie actually was.
So like many sideshow performers at the time, Schlitzie was incredibly hard behind the scenes. Life was incredibly hard. I'm like, wait, what? So you're just jerking off? I'm sorry. As you can imagine, his looks and profession made it very difficult to exist in a world that still didn't have the most basic protections for the physically and mentally disabled. In spite of this, however, Schlitzie kept on performing and made a lasting impact on the circus industry. Not much is known about the birth of Schlitzie. While his death certificate, as listed on Find a Death, gives his birthday to September 10th, 1901 in the Bronx. This is not confirmed. He is also frequently given a birth name of Simon Metz, but this too is not certain, as one of Schlitz's guardians was named Ted Metz. So at least the surname was probably not the one he had at birth. His death certificate gives his birth name as Schlitzie Surtees, but this is an adopted name and was used because his actual birth name was unknown. Some reports, such as Joe Nichols' Secrets of the Sideshow, give Schlitzie's birthplace as Santa Fe, New Mexico, instead. Others say he was born somewhere in the Yucatan, though this may be a sideshow legend, as Schlitzie was billed as the last of the Aztecs for a time, presumably for horrifyingly racist reasons. Yeah. As far as Schlitzie's birth date goes, 1901 is the most commonly suggested year, though some claim he was actually born on an unknown date in 1890. This is complicated because Schlitzie was naturally short, about 4 feet tall, and his cognitive skills were believed to be about those of a 4-year-old, so he may have seemed younger than he actually was at any given point. Schlitzie's parents probably, there's no probably about that, right? Unless they just abandoned him and then someone else was like, cha-ching.
Right. Or like they were also part of the circus and he was just born into the circus life.
Was the backlash to Freaks for based reasons? No. The backlash to Freaks was because people were disgusted and hated.
Yeah, people were grossed
Freaks
out by the physical anomalies, and
they were disgusted by the fact that there were these freaks on the movie screen. They were like, "That's fine for some sideshow attraction, but we don't want to actually see those horrible creatures." Right? That was basically
you have to take into account too that like modern sensibilities when it comes to crazy looking shit had not been established. A lot of these people had never seen anything even remotely like the people in Freaks, and to see them portrayed so intimately and constantly, whatever. I'm not saying it was right of them, but it was just like, like I said, your first exposure to something like that ever.
Yeah, especially in mainstream like media.
Right.
So yeah, that was not it was not for some based reasons. It was not like people were like, this is exploitative or something like that. That was not even, and maybe someone had that objection, but that was not the thrust of the objection. Since we know next, by the way, the movie Freaks is not, I don't even think it was really exploitative. it was kind of it was very humanizing.
It definitely was exploitative, but like not less so than what
probably not in the context of the time, at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The story is like I think that was probably why people didn't like it, because people wanted these freaks to just be like monsters. And the movie actually does portray them as like human beings with like real feelings and stuff. And it shows that the people who exploit them are the bad guys in that movie. So maybe the movie itself did exploit them to some extent, but probably pretty progressive in the context of the time that it came out. And portrays the freaks as like protagonists who are being exploited by people who are, trying to profit off of them, and who end up getting their comeuppance in a pretty horrifying way. Anyway, since we know next to nothing about Schlitzie's birth, we similarly don't know much about his childhood. Some sources say his parents kept him in either an attic or a basement. Who knows? Just legend. They were also allegedly ashamed of him, which is also not known for sure, but considering the period, it's a pretty good guess.
I mean, it
The
just
19
seems like this person's life was consumed by all the little circus rumors and shit that were used to sell access.
Right. And,
Born in a basement, you know what I mean? Born in
Right.
fucking darkest Africa. Born in
it's
the
hard to
Yucatan.
it's hard to sort fact from fiction, especially when you're dealing with someone who has a mental capacity of a 4-year-old, because it's not like they're going to be super good at correcting the record or something like that.
Yep.
So decades after slavery was outlawed, selling a child with a disability was not exactly legal, but people certainly looked the other way. Schlitzie's earliest mentions are from his time under George Cortez, a circus owner. So chances are Schlitzie came to Cortez or another circus owner's attention, who then offered his parents money to take custody of him. Since he had no family to speak of for the rest of his life, it's likely they were out of the picture entirely. While this does sound quite heartless, it's not confirmed, and there may be a lot of other factors we were unaware of, but similar things have happened to other sideshow performers, so it's a strong possibility. So Schlitzie's condition is not fully understood. So you see here, like normal human baby's head versus like Schlitzie's head, a lot of fucking, cranial space missing there. So Schlitzie's most recognizable feature was his small head, the result of a disorder called microcephaly, which I believe we have covered on this show, maybe a long time ago.
I think so, yeah.
Microcephalax have skulls that are far smaller than a typical skull. They're often conical towards the crown of the head. Schlitzie's hair was actually cut specifically to emphasize the point at the top of his skull. Much about this medical condition is clear, but the thing is that microcephaly can be a symptom of several other issues, according to the CDC. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's a result of fetal alcohol syndrome, or a number of other problems. While some sources say that Schlitzie was born microcephalic, others say he developed the condition later on when his body grew, but his head did not. Each of these can indicate different causes, so it's unclear what exactly, how exactly Schlitzie's, microcephaly came about.
Right.
He was typically billed as female, and in fact, until I read this article right now, I've always thought that Schlitzie was female.
In Freaks, I thought, he's presented as a female in Freaks, so I always assumed as well.
So although Schlitzie's few medical records show he was male, circus promoters often advertise him as female with names like the Monkey Girl. It is noted that many sources, such as All Things Interesting, that this is because Schlitzie was incontinent and wore diapers. Thus, he wore dresses to make it easier for his caregivers to change him. However, some sources also assert that Schlitzie wasn't incontinent until late in life, and many photos of Schlitzie, he's wearing pants under his dress, which would defeat the purpose of the dress if incontinence was indeed the reason for it. One of the reasons suggested by Mark Hartzman's American Sideshow is that female sideshow performers might have been considered a bigger draw in those days, and since Schlitzie's gender wasn't immediately obvious to audiences, it may have, basically it was just like a marketing decision. Like, okay, well, it seems like the female circus sideshow performers do a little better.
Huh.
So,
yeah, that makes more sense than the incontinence thing.
So Schlitzie had numerous owners, quote unquote. Basically, he got passed around from circus to circus. Throughout Schlitzie's life, he was traded, sold, and lent to various circus owners, as mentioned by Altered Dimensions. This was actually a common practice at the time, as horrifying as it sounds. It was not, considered a big deal at all at the time. Because circuses typically follow a specific route of cities each year, the owners wanted to keep things fresh. So they basically swap out attractions in order to bring in new customers to the cities. Because, if you come to the town again with the same shit, there people are just be like, I've seen it last year,
Right.
So this meant that sideshow performers often moved between circuses and constantly visited new cities. While performers who are more able-minded might have had some say in this, those with severe intellectual disabilities like Schlitzie had pretty much no choice.
The able-minded ones probably had very little say in it too. Yeah. Honestly,
I mean, they might have had, they at least had the ability to complain and be like, nah, I'm not doing that or whatever. But, if you have the mental capacity of a 4-year-old, you pretty much have you're just going to do what you're told.
Right.
Schlitzie was beloved by everyone around him. I don't think Schlitzie was probably beloved by the people that were exploiting him, but maybe. So it's said that he behaved a lot like an excitable child. He had a sense of wonder and joy that audiences loved and kept them coming back to see him. Schlitzie could sing, dance, and even parrot people, and audiences ate it all up. One of his most popular acts was quite simple. Schlitzie would count from 1 to 10, although it's said that he would skip the number 7 in his count. It's not certain if Schlitzie had trouble remembering it or if it was part of the act and was done on purpose for laughs. But the public weren't the only ones upon whom Schlitzie left a mark. His nurses and caregivers are said to have loved him, and his fellow performers were also very fond of Schlitzie, making sure he was taken care of. While Schlitzie never had a family per se, the circuses he worked for made sure to treat him that way. According to a quote on Find a Death by Jeannie Tomiani, a sideshow half-girl, often audience members would be rude or even downright cruel to Schlitzie, something Schlitzie was reported to show anger at. On the occasion that this did happen, the roustabouts, a term for a general laborer in the circus or carnival, would quickly stop the abuse of audience members and make them leave.
Hey, well, good for them at least. Yeah, the people that were at the bottom rung sound like they helped Schlitzie and looked after him a lot and probably were responsible for him living as long as he did.
Probably. So Freaks is probably the most famous movie Schlitzie was in, but not the only one. He also appeared in films where he portrayed a sideshow performer, such as The Sideshow and Meet Boston Blackie. The fuck is that? Schlitzie's performance in these films is much smaller than the one he had in Freaks. However, he also appeared in 1932's The Island of Lost Souls, an early adaptation of The Island of Dr. Moreau, as one of the Manimals. His most unusual role, however, was in the film Tomorrow's Children, an exploitation film that was meant to showcase the evils of forced sterilization, a common practice at the time for criminals or those with disabilities. Schlitzie has a brief role as a criminal who is sentenced to sterilization. The reason this role was unique for Schlitzie was because the only times he was seen with a full head of hair and a beard, which you can see above. Yeah, there you go. So they just like Schlitzie even looks handsome. I don't know if Schlitzie really looks handsome there, but yeah.
Definitely looks less.
Looks a little bit less like a fucking circus freak. I'll give you that.
Yeah, kind of looks like microcephalic Castro.
Yeah, I can see it. Schlitzie may have had a sister. I don't know. Spent several years in an institution. Returned to the circus life after spending some time in the institution. All right, let's go. Let's skip to this old age shit. Schlitzie lived to old age. Damn. How old is old age for Schlitzie? 70. It's listed at dying age of 70. Based on the September 10th, 1901 birth date. However, since this birth date is unconfirmed, it's possible Schlitzie was older, possibly even in his 80s when he passed away. While microcephaly doesn't necessarily mean a shorter lifespan, it can depend on the severity of the condition, which it seemed like it was pretty severe in Schlitzie's case. Schlitzie had been unwell for a while and spent some time in the hospital, but was eventually transferred to Fountain View Convalescent Home, where he spent his remaining days. His cause of death was listed as bronchial pneumonia brought on by medullary depression. That's a physical condition, not a mental state. Essentially, due to his advanced age, Schlitzie was unable to fight off a respiratory illness and eventually succumbed. He was buried on October 7th, 1971. Originally had no grave marker, but I guess something is, they eventually got around to it.
Damn. It's pretty harsh. Poor Schlitzie. Yeah.
These fucking freaks don't typically have like super good lives. Apparently he was a drinker too. Well, yeah. Wouldn't you? Here is a Jim Cornette clip comparing someone to Schlitzie, I guess. Probably for insult purposes, but let's see how it goes. My favorite Jim Cornette moment is when Paul told Jim Cornette that I fisted him on the show, the old show. And he was like he was a pretty quick-witted guy, but that I think he stumbled a little over that one.
Anyway, an update on the Brian Pillman Dark Side of the Ring. And I didn't know this until you just brought it to my attention this past week, but our friends Les Thatcher and Joe Dombrowski, I've done some commentary with Joe, and that didn't run him off. Imagine that. Didn't scare him. But they have put together a DVD anthology set of all of the Brian Pillman memorial shows that Les promoted in Cincinnati.
Yeah, get to the Schlitzie joke. Where the fuck's that at? Do it.
Were discussed on that show and have been discussed. They had so many great matches and so many stars back for what they did.
I don't know who any of these people are. Why is it just fucking get to the damn joke?
In wrestling, either donated their time and services, came on their own to be a part of the show. It was the only place you could see.
All right, I'm not doing free promotion for this shit. I thought there was gonna be a Schlitzie joke here. There isn't. Peyton, I'm beating the shit out of you later. All right, so this is JoJo the dog face boy, who is basically just Chewbacca, if we're honest. Boring. I agree. That was boring as shit. Why the fuck did we listen to that? Fedor Aronovich Jetichu, also known as JoJo the dog face boy.
Well, sorry about that, dude. My board just like locked up.
Oh shit.
It's like this high pitched whine. I thought it was you, and I had to unplug the fucking thing. Just
Oh fuck.
sorry about that.
It's all good. All that happened when you were gone is I played a clip that was supposed to be of Jim Cornette making a Schlitzie joke, but then he just talked about some other boring shit for like a minute, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm gonna kick Peyton's fucking ass.
Yeah, dude. Peyton is starting to.
Yeah, like if you're gonna fucking don't pull some boring ass shit of Jim Cornette talking about a bunch of fucking motherfuckers I ain't never heard of for a fucking minute and a half. Like, what the fuck is that?
Oh,
Don't do that shit. You got fucking Jim Cornette telling a Schlitzie joke. Fucking pull the fucking Schlitzie joke. I don't need all this. Fucking, oh man, they put out a DVD of all the fucking memorial shows for billing fucking Steve Jew Bloobadoop and Scobbin Dime. You know, I'm being fucking fuck that shit. I don't know who these motherfuckers are.
Peyton said that you started it at the wrong time, TJ. He said go to 5:08.
No, you said 5:38, dumbass. It says right in the document. Watch until 5:38. Oh, it says until 5, but you fucking linked it to me at 5:38. So you fucked up. Son of a bitch, bro. All right, I'll go back.
Peyton?
Son of a bitch. Fucking goddamn Peyton. Unreliable son of a bitch. All right, 5:08. Better be the funniest goddamn Schlitzie joke I've ever fucking heard.
Oh, and by the way, I saw a picture of Nick Gage's girlfriend. Holy shit, I could do 20 minutes on her and get kicked off every social media platform in the world. But I'll just say it's nice that that poor little pinhead from Freaks, her granddaughter finally got a fucking job.
Come on.
Anyway.
That's awful.
All right.
That was pretty
All
good.
right. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'll give you that, Peyton. Anyway, on to JoJo the Chewbacca face boy. The Russian sideshow performer who toured Europe with his father, Adrian, was known as the Wild Man from the Kostroma Forest.
Damn.
Both Fedor and his father suffered from hypertrichosis, which causes abnormal hair growth throughout the body. Fedor was born in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1868. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, man, it's the Chewbacca family. I love it. As a young child, Fedor toured with his father. He's presented as the offspring of the wild man. Well, he is. It's like, yeah, he's the
Dude, why didn't they get somebody with this to play Chewbacca?
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
Why the whole suit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could have fucking done this shit. Justice for Peyton. No, because Peyton, you know, he's still linked to the wrong minute marker on that shit. He sent me a link with the wrong fucking minute marker on it. He linked to the fucking end of the clip. So no, he's still a bad boy. At 16 years old in 1884, Fedor was recruited by P.T. Barnum, who presented him to the public as JoJo the dog-faced boy. Barnum created a story that involved a hunter in Kostroma who tracked Fedor to a cave and captured him. A fucking asshole.
Tracked him into a cave?
Yeah. I was hunting the beast, and you know.
What the fuck, bro? That's not cool. Just because he was hairy, you hunted him?
Yeah. JoJo the dog boy. Alive, alive, alive! Barnum described him as a savage who could not be civilized. Barnum made a point of stressing Fedor's resemblance to a dog and explained that when he was upset, he would bark and growl. In the show, Fedor obliged by doing so. In reality, Fedor was highly intelligent and spoke Russian, German, and English. He toured throughout Europe and the United States as an attraction his entire life. Fedor died in Salonika, Greece, from pneumonia on January 31st, 1904.
It's always nice to hear that somebody that was really intelligent was forced to basically work as a fucking carny slave his entire life.
Yep. Ain't
That's
it a
great.
thing? Sorry
Gotta
that
love
P.T. Barnum
humans.
was an asshole. Yeah, P.T. Barnum was definitely an asshole.
Dude, I want to make a P.T. Barnum movie that like tells the true story, but I still want to cast Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, and I still want it to be a musical too.
Yeah, but make it like a dark like a Tim Burton musical. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I'm going to exploit these freaks.
Yep.
You're a perfectly intelligent person, so let's say you're an animal and make you bark and growl. You know,
Yep.
it's beautiful. Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. All right. So this chick was included in the thumbnail. So you know, I figure she might as well be in the episode as well. This is Myrtle Corbin, who was born with 2 sets of internal and external reproductive anatomies.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
See, I was
yep,
wondering
yep.
as soon as I saw this, like, what's the how does the plumbing even work? And
Yeah,
now
I
I
don't
know
know.
that there's 2 full sets of plumbing.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works out, but some strange stuff going on. For all intents and purposes, Joseph Myrtle Corbin was a normal girl. No. Nope. I'm going to say no on that one. Her birth was not marked by anything out of the ordinary. Oh, really?
Except being born 4-legged,
How
right?
Was she not born with 4 legs? I don't understand. Oh, okay. Yeah, she had 4 legs. No, she had the 4 leg. No, well, what? No. You don't get to do, you don't know.
What an article, dude. Gotta
Like,
love
that's
that,
not,
man.
I'm sorry. Like, I get that you're trying to be progressive and shit, but no. She's not, no, 4 legs is not normal, dude. After being born with 4 legs, 2 normal size ones on either side of a pair of diminutive ones, the doctor who delivered Myrtle Corbin, felt it necessary to point out the factors they felt could have resulted in her deformity. First, the baby's parents, the doctor said, were about 10 years apart in age. William H. Corbin was 25 and his wife, Nancy, was 34. Well,
Yeah,
what do you
that's
expect?
that was definitely it.
What
right
do you
there.
expect? 25-year-old man fucking a 34-year-old woman? Of course you're going to have some kind of 8-legged fucking baby. Oh, no. Corn Pop, what are you doing?
Oh, shit.
Dude. What?
Terrorism.
Corn Pop. I'm so glad that my next house has fucking round door handles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be able to, like, he can get into, like, the handle pulley ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how he
God.
can fucking get in here. And every other room pretty much in the house.
Dude,
You gotta go,
he's
Corn
gonna,
Pop.
he's gonna be so pissed when he can't, and he's gonna jiggle doorknobs all the time. Dude, Cricket is a doorknob jiggler. If you shut him out of the room, he'll sit there and just like tap the doorknob all night. He'll do it, dude. You watch. It'll be worse than him just getting into the room. Fucking Corn Pop, dude. What a little turd. A lovable little turd, though. I'll never forget the time that Corn Pop, I thought he was being sweet to me. He was like grooming my beard. And then he literally took a fucking huge bite of my chin like it was the ass of a mouse or something. He just like went from being so sweet, like sitting there like, oh, I'm gonna lick your beard. I'm gonna lick your beard. He's being so sweet. And then in a fucking second, dude, he was like trying to dine on my chin.
I was like,
It's like, whoa, Corn Pop, you are a chaotic entity, my friend.
yeah, that's true. So anyway, yeah, it's because her parents they were 9 years apart. Come on, of course. Second, the doctor noted the couple bore a striking resemblance to each other.
Oh,
Both of them
well,
were
that
redheads
might
with
be
blue
it.
eyes and fair complexions. They actually looked so similar. The doctors felt it necessary to explicitly point out that the two are not blood kin in their medical reports. Yeah.
Maybe they were.
Despite the two factors the doctors listed, it seemed the young girl was simply an oddity. Her parents had 7 other children, all of whom were perfectly ordinary. Later, it would be determined that she was born with dipigus, and her condition was likely the result of her body's axis splitting as it developed. As a result, she was born with 2 pelvises side by side. With each pelvis, she had 2 sets of legs, one normal size, one small. The 2 small legs were side by side, flanked by either of the 2 normal legs, the one with a clubbed foot. According to medical journals written by the physicians that studied Myrtle Corbin throughout her life, she was able to move her small inner legs, though they weren't strong enough for her to be able to walk on, which of course didn't really matter because they weren't long enough to touch the ground. So whatever. So here's P.T. Barnum again. Very nice man.
Great guy that he was. You can just tell by looking at him that he was a deep well of compassion. You know what I mean?
He's a nice man. In 1881, at age 13, Myrtle Corbin joined the circus sideshow under the moniker The Four-Legged Girl from Texas. After showing her to curious neighbors and charging them a dime each, her father realized her potential for publicity and for cash. A good father, too.
That's a pretty smart naming scheme, because if I saw like just the Four-Legged Girl, I'd probably be on the fence. I'd be like,
meh.
But the Four-Legged Girl from Texas, I'm there.
Yeah, that's
from Texas, a four-legged Texan woman. I'm there.
If it's like Four-Legged Girl from Nebraska or something, be like, pass. Who gives a shit? He had promotional pamphlets made up and began placing ads in the newspapers for people to come to see her. The promotional pamphlets described her as a girl with as gentle of disposition as the summer sunshine and as happy as the day is long.
Yep, that is your typical Texan.
Throughout her time as a sideshow attraction, she became wildly popular. Eventually, rather than bringing the curious onlookers to her, she began traveling by visiting small towns and cities and performing for the public. She ended up earning about $450 a week. Eventually, famed showman P.T. Barnum heard about her and hired her for his show. For 4 years, she continued to work for Barnum and even inspired several other showmen to produce fake four-legged humans for their own shows when they couldn't get her. So they're just like, just fucking...
I mean, yeah, this looks like it would be pretty easy to
strap some fake legs on a bitch, you know?
Yep.
At 18 years old, Myrtle Corbin decided she was tired of people gawking at her, retired from the sideshow business. Does all this freak exploitation please economists? I mean, well, yeah, obviously.
Clearly it did.
She'd met a doctor named Clinton Bicknell and fallen in love at 19. The two were married. About a year later, in the spring of 1887, Myrtle Corbin discovered she was pregnant. She had gone to a doctor in Bluntsville, Alabama, complaining of pain in her left side, fever, headache, and decreased appetite. Despite her unique anatomy, she had 2 sets of internal and external reproductive anatomies. Doctors did not believe there was a reason she couldn't carry to term. Though she became gravely ill for the first 3 months of her pregnancy, resulting in her doctor performing an abortion, she ended up giving birth to 4 more healthy children later in life. After performing in the sideshow and giving birth to her children, Myrtle Corbin's life was rather normal. Though her case continued to pop up in medical journals around the country, she maintained a quiet existence in her Texas home with her husband and children. Eventually, in 1928, she died as the result of streptococcal skin infection. Though antibiotics make the condition easily treatable today, in 1920s, there was no such treatment. On May 6, 1928, her casket was buried and covered in concrete, probably to fucking keep people from stealing her corpse. Yeah, prevent grave robbers from stealing her body. After all, several physicians and showmen had offered money for her body, and her family knew that there were people willing to go to great lengths to get one last piece of Myrtle Corbin, the four-legged girl from Texas.
Well, all right.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Goddamn. That's some weird ass shit.
I have questions.
I don't know that I have answers. I think you're going to have to go to like the medical records for the answers to those
I don't
questions.
even think the medical records are going to list this. Like,
oh man,
it's got 2 sets of external reproductive organs. Did they both connect to like the same pipe so you could switch hit, you know,
I
whenever
don't
you
know.
wanted?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, how did that work out? I wish I could talk to her husband and be like, come on, man.
Did she
Just-
have two assholes too? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. That's
like
a good
how
question.
far did it go? Like, was it like multi-pussy, multi-asshole, or I don't know. You know?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Pay me
See?
my $16 each. Look, you can't even. You don't even know the fucking dollar sign goes before the amount, bitch. You look like a fucking moron. All right, I know. Like you fucking, it goes. The money symbol goes in the front. All right. So shut up. You don't even know what the fuck you talk about, bitch. 2 pelvises would indicate 2 wombs. If both worked, I have no idea. So does that mean she could be pregnant with 2 babies at once in 2 different
That's
wombs?
the question. Yeah, because if
Oh,
that's
man.
the case, yeah, then she get double pregnant, depending on.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good fucking question. God damn it.
See, these fucking these articles, they're all exploitative and salacious and shit to get you to click on them, but they never give you what you want.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
never tell you what you really want to know, do they?
No.
Fucking bastards. You fucking bastards.
They never
Anyway.
do tell you.
I think Paul brought something about some gamblers or something.
I did indeed.
When I saw this episode was going to be Circus Freaks and Degenerate Gamblers, I'm like, that's like a double dose of me. Could have just put my face on here twice.
You're both a circus freak and a degenerate gambler.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really think you qualify as degenerate, TJ.
You're
might
right.
have-
I like gambling. I'm not like an anti-gambling person, and I will go to the casino and shit, but I'm not one of these motherfuckers that's like lives at the casino and fucking like puts up their house and shit. Like, yeah, mortgage my house.
You don't
for
you don't
fucking-
seem to go that far with it. Although you are more drawn to gambling than I think the average person is. Probably. There's
Probably so.
definitely maybe the capacity in you to be a degenerate gambler, but you're not.
Yeah,
Um,
got a little bit too much caution in me or something.
I'm
not sure.
fascinated about gambling in general, but like people that really go over the top with it is especially fascinating for me because I'm like beyond frugal, you know,
Yeah,
like raised by parents that were both dirt poor when they were kids. And so the thing they really instilled in me is if you got money, hang on to it. You know what I mean? So that's like my whole modus operandi. And a casino is the opposite of that. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
put your money up and maybe lose it all. You know, just the like chance of that keeps me from ever really experiencing that gambler's high or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because like the thing about gambling or going to Las Vegas or any casino really is you obviously want to win, but there is like a certain pleasure just in the gamble itself. Like the fact that's like, okay, I could lose this. I could win this. There's just like, that risk and reward kind of incentive thing going on.
Yep.
And, I find that maybe it's a good thing. I'm just like fortunate in this regard. But like, I feel like if I had friends who were more into it, I would probably be more into it. But it seems like most people that I know are just like, do not get it whatsoever. They're just like, I don't fucking understand the appeal of this. This is like not a fun activity. I don't get like why you would want to do that. So, yeah. I think everyone I know kind of falls in the same, boat as you.
Yeah. I mean, I've played some, I've gambled. I've won some money, not a ton, and I've lost some money, not a ton. And I can tell you, like, no win that I had felt as good as the loss felt bad. You know what I mean? Like, the loss always outweighed the win, no matter what. So it's just not something I do. If I go to the casino, I'll take like I set a limit on myself, and it's usually a pretty small limit for the casino. I'll go like, for gambling purposes, I got this 20. I'm going to put this 20 into a slot machine or sit down and play blackjack with this $20. And when it's gone, it's gone. You know what I mean? And if I double up or triple up or quadruple up this money or whatever, I just walk with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like I'm not going to keep playing and put it all back in.
Yeah,
So that's
what happened to me is I'll fucking go in and I'll have a similar thing, but it's like I said it like more like 500 or something, So it's like I'm willing to lose a lot more, but a lot of times I'll lose that 500. I'll be like, one more 100, So But yeah, I've never like really gone like super crazy and lost like a shit ton of money. Probably the worst. Well, last time I was in Vegas, I did have a day where I almost like lost $1,000, but I managed to like win it all back at the end of the day. It's like,
see, that just sounds exhausting to me.
Right. I was down like $1,000 and Chelsea was super mad, but then I like I just went to a fucking roulette table with $100. I'm like, I'm going to fucking win my money back on this. And I somehow did.
But you spent the whole day winning back, just getting back to zero.
Yeah, pretty much. I actually made a little tiny bit of profit. I think I like was up like maybe $200, but yeah, I was down like $1,000, and that was really bad. That was probably the worst I was ever down. But
well, then you're definitely not in the league of the people that we'll be talking about here tonight.
No, I'm sure that there's people that go pretty far with it.
I don't think you got a gambling problem. This is before we started on some of the most degenerate gamblers of all time. I thought we'd learn just real quickly about Baccarat, because I know nothing about it, and it is one of the two games that high rollers typically flock to, because it's Baccarat and blackjack have a very low dealer advantage. It's like 1%. House advantage, and so it's the best gamble in the place, especially if you're gambling a lot of money,
right? Because
you just have the most opportunity to beat the house. And so Baccarat is it's a comparing card game that compares two hands, one the player hand and the banker hand. Each Baccarat coup, which is a round of play, has three possible outcomes: player has the higher score, banker, and tie. There are three popular variants of the game: Punta Banco, blah 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 blah. Punta Banco is the one that's played in most casinos, and what it means is basically like it's like, how the dealer has to take a hit if he draws an 11 or whatever in blackjack.
Yeah,
those rules are like applied across the player and the dealer in Baccarat, in Punta Banco Baccarat. So both of you, like if you draw like a total of like 3, like your cards add up to 3, then you have to take a hit. And so does the dealer. So it's very like structured and very chance based. So who gets the better hand, basically. All cards have a point value in Baccarat. The 2 through 9 cards are worth face value in points. The 10, Jack, Queen, and King are worth no points. Aces are worth 1 point. Jokers aren't used in the deck. Hands are valued according to the units digit of the sum of their constituent cards. So having 2 lower cards is actually better. The highest hand you can get in Baccarat is 9. So having 2 lower cards is better because it leads to a high single digit. So if you had like a 2 and a 3, that's worth 5. But if you have a 6 and a 7, it's only worth 3 because they use the unit, the digit. So 6 and 7 is 13. They drop the 1 and give you that's worth 3.
Very strange.
So the best hand in Baccarat is a 4 and a 5. Because that's like blackjack, and
because you can't go over 9,
right? You can't go over 9. You're not forced to take a hit because you're over the hit limit of whatever it is, 4 or whatever. And the dealer is probably not going to match you, no matter how many times he draws. And so, yeah, this is like the strongest hand in Baccarat. This is what everybody wants in Baccarat because it's the highest single digit sum that you can get. If you had a 5 and a 5, it would be worth no points because 10s are worth nothing. If you had a 5 and a 6, it would be worth 1 point because the total is 11 and they take the unit digit.
Yeah, so they just take out. That's very strange. Really weird fucking rules.
Yeah,
it's lost on you. I mean, it's kind of complicated. It's really not that difficult.
If you understand blackjack,
if there's
similar.
Yeah, there's definitely people have tried to teach me how to play craps before. Craps is way more fucking confusing than this. Like craps, I literally have no idea what the fuck is going on in that game.
The suits don't matter at all in Baccarat. In fact, Baccarat is I looked into it. It's dealt from a shoe they call it a shoe. It's like 6 decks mixed together. So yeah, the suits, there's no like poker rules about consecutive suits. None of that. It's 100% just a beat the dealer with a sum total closer to 9 than the dealer.
So it's pretty similar to blackjack.
Yep. The only difference is that you are forced to take a hit at a certain point. So if you draw like 2 2s, you got 4, I think you have to take a hit.
Gotcha.
And so does the dealer. You know, that there are rules under which you have to take a hit in it. So, but yeah, it's basically, you know, that's basically it. I still don't fully understand it, but at least I have a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get a general idea of it. You know, for me, if I'm at the casino, I'm pretty much, you're gonna find me on like the roulette wheel or maybe a slot machine. But yeah, I'll play a slot machine or because you don't have to understand shit to play a slot machine. You just press a button, it's go, bright colors happen, and then you're told if you won something or not. You know.
So, do you recognize this lovely lady here?
She does look fucking familiar. But I don't think I do.
This is Gladys Knight of Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Okay.
Well known for her music career, 7-time Grammy winner. Her most popular track is probably Midnight Train to Georgia, which I'm sure you've heard.
I probably have.
It peaked on the at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100, along with That's What Friends Are For. You probably heard that one as well. Keep smiling, keep shining, know that you can always count. It's a sappy song.
Yeah, I think I've heard these in like movies and shit.
Yeah, another
it's
song.
Not the kind of thing I'm gonna like go and listen to, you know. But,
right.
But yeah,
another song that we can listen to a little bit of it here. This is a live performance, so
yeah, we're usually a little more forgiving of those.
Yeah, this is Gladys Knight and the Pips. Heard it through the grapevine, which I'm sure you've heard.
Now this one I definitely know.
Now this was covered by the California Raisins.
Oh, well, yeah,
this is not the California.
I mean, that's the ultimate version, of course.
Yeah, this is you know,
the California Raisin version is the definitive, you know, version of this, but you know.
Yeah, but heard it through the grapevine. She's got a really great voice. She's got a really soulful voice. In fact, she was known as the Empress of Soul.
Sorry. Yeah.
And she earned a fortune that allowed her to play some of the highest stakes allowed in Baccarat and Blackjack. So in order to play like super high stakes shit, you've got to like work with the casino and stuff. Like you've got to give the casino assurances that you can cover this debt. They don't just let any Johnny Yokel sit down and be like, I bet $1 million. You know,
right. Because they're like, can you pay that?
Right.
Can you cover that loss?
And so, you know, if you can show that you have enough liquidity or whatever, they'll let you bet pretty much anything. And, you know, in these casinos, I mean, they still do have bet limits, but I mean, it's ridiculous. So she loved to gamble, but she was never a person that found a system that worked.
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately there's no like foolproof fucking gambling system. Like the odds are always in the house's favor. You know?
Sure, but if
like some people figure out ways to play more conservative game that, you know, you know, they can push the odds a little bit more in their favor.
They factor in their losses and they find a way to make ends. You know, there's a lot of people that live like that, especially in, you know, like Atlantic City, Las Vegas,
like
Reno,
I can sit down
places.
and play a pretty conservative game of roulette, however you want to say it. And I'm not guaranteed to win, but like I know how to play roulette very fucking conservatively. It's not fun to play conservatively, but I can do it and eke out money.
Well, that's why roulette is probably such a popular game at the casinos, because eventually people get bored of playing conservatively and they want to hit a big one, you know what I mean?
I mean, well, that's when you lose. I mean, you can lose playing conservatively too, but like I can play a pretty conservative game of roulette, minimal bet, and fucking eke out money, and basically like that's how I got my money back that day. I was down 1,000. I basically sat at the roulette table and played 6 hours of fucking conservative roulette until I was up to like $1,200
right
from 100. But it's fucking it's brutal and it's grinding and it's mentally taxing. And it's like you always want to, there's always this impulse to like, man, fuck it. I should do something risky, you know? Because like the greater the risk, the greater the reward. But of course, the greater the risk, the greater the fucking risk too.
Well, I've known people that gamble too, and gamblers, they often talk about like having a feeling that leads them to do one thing or another.
Dude,
like
I've only got that feeling a couple times. I've only had it like a scant handful of times, but every time, I don't know. I'm a pretty skeptical person, but there have been a few times sitting at the roulette table that I've been like, it is going to be this, and I feel like absolute certainty down to the fucking core of my being that it's going to be this number. And it's always been right. But it only happens every so often. Usually I don't get that. Usually it's just like play the numbers, play the fucking odds, you know?
Right.
But yeah, there is like, I don't know. It is a thing that happens. I don't know why. And I don't know why it's been accurate. Both, I think 3 times it's actually happened to me. The 3 times it's happened, it's not been wrong. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I've never felt any of that. Like I've played roulette a couple of times, and it's just like I never have this feeling like, holy fuck, I'm certain it's gonna land on 8 black or whatever the fuck. It's I've never had anything like that. I guess like when I'm walking around looking for a fucking slot machine, there's certain slot machines I like better than others, but that's just because I've won on certain slot machines before.
Well, the last time I was in Vegas, I found these slot machines that there are certain slot okay, so it's kind of hard to explain, but there's like a thing where like they had this like grid, right? And on this grid were a bunch of little treasure chests. And if you played for a little while, you would start to like turn these treasure chests into like, you'd like flip them basically. And when all of the treasure chests in this grid were flipped, it would give you this like crazy series of like 50 free spins or some shit. Like this crazy, it would just like initiate this sequence. So what I would do is I saw that this game was around.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like walk around and I'd find ones where most of the treasure chests were already flipped. And I pretty much was like guaranteed to win at least like 40 or 50 bucks every time I found one like that.
Yeah. See, that's pretty rare that you find one that advertises a hit like that.
Yeah. I mean, well, I just think most people were not like clued into it, So it's like, I'm like, oh, wait, if I find one of these that's like ready to fucking tip, all I have to do is just play that motherfucker and I'm pretty much going to win money. Like it's pretty much a sure thing.
This is the machine that I look for at every casino when I go. This is the slot machine I play.
Oh yeah, that's right. Peyton works at a fucking casino.
Yeah,
Peyton, you should give me some free fucking casino credits or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, dude, get him a credit line
to make up for all your goddamn fuck up earlier. Little son of a bitch.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I've had luck on these like double diamond machines, and so I try and find one of those, and I'll sit down, I'll put my $20 in, and
see these. I think are very comforting for people, like the boomer gambler, because they're very familiar.
Yeah,
like if you're not someone who's like experienced with slot machines, like this is very easy to interpret. Like a lot of these slot machines, like you don't know what the fuck is going on. It's just like,
oh yeah,
what?
Dude,
Did I win? Did I lose? I'm not even sure what's happening. This is like, all right, you got one line. If they match, you win.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking.
I can't fucking hang with some of those. Some of those machines are just crazy.
They get pretty fucking wacky.
So Gladys Knight, like I said, she had the money to go and do high stakes baccarat, high stakes roulette, high stakes blackjack,
but she sucked at it.
But you're right. She didn't have a system, and she basically blew about $40,000 every time she went. Every night.
Oh fuck!
So she would play, like pretty often in Vegas as an act at one of these casinos, and they'd set her up with a credit line or whatever and a room, and she'd go and lose 40 grand to the casino, basically.
Right.
And she, over the course of her career before she got help with it, she blew about $6 million, which is like, we're talking about her heyday with this was in the 70s. Right. So that's $6 million in 70s money, which I'm sure is
so
more
that's
like 20 or 30 million.
Insane amount of money. But she's got number one, hit making artist money to lose. But I'm sure that like a lot of her fortune was probably squandered by this, right?
Yeah. she had kind of a moment, I guess, like a lot of addicts do have a moment like this, where she like basically hit bottom. And for her, she was out drinking and gambling all night and went home and passed out and woke up, and it was like 3 or 4 p.m. and she realized she had forgotten to take her kid to school.
Right. Yeah, that's the moment.
She was just so out of it that she slept all day, and the kid, was just wandering around the house wondering like why I didn't have to go to school today. And that for her, that was that moment.
That kid was probably like,
yeah, I know. It was probably pretty sweet. Although I bet the kid liked growing up with a rich Gladys Knight rather than a busted out Gladys
yeah,
Knight.
probably a good idea. Yeah.
So she started going to Gamblers Anonymous meetings. She eventually gave up the habit of gambling altogether.
Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't really working out for her. So
it's a rare happy ending in these gambling stories, because most of the time they don't really. Sometimes they have really unhappy endings. It's a guy you've probably heard of, if not know anything about Pete Rose.
Yeah, everybody knows.
So Pete Rose is
about his his disgrace and stuff. So
a lot of people don't know this about Pete. He's arguably the best baseball player that ever lived.
Yeah.
He holds Major League Baseball's record for the most hits in a career, 4,256. Nobody's even close.
Yeah.
And games played, 3,562, and singles. That's, a hit that gets him one base, 3,215. So he holds these 3 records pretty undisputably. And 2 of them is the most hits and games played. A lot of people say that those are the metrics by which greatness is achieved. And if that's the case, Pete Rose is the best baseball player that ever lived. But he's not celebrated for his athletic talents because he kind of busted gambling. Now he's a little different. Like, sports betting is different. It's the same, I guess.
At the end of
the day,
the problem is that he was in a position to affect the outcome of what he was betting
he was
on,
he was the coach of the Expos, and there were it was like in his trial or whatever, it was intoned that he like bet against the Expos a lot of times,
right?
Which he can't like make them lose, but he sets the batting order. He can make, he can make decisions to pull the pitcher when he's on a hot streak.
Yeah, I mean, he can do a lot of things to he can sabotage the team. He can pretty much, he can't totally control what's going to happen, but like he can fucking have a lot of influence. And yeah, I mean, if he's out there betting on games, betting against his team, and then sabotaging his team,
yeah. So yeah, he managed the Cincinnati Reds up until 1989, and it was in 1989 that MLB opened an investigation into allegations he was gambling on the sport. He denied the claims for years, but the MLB found enough evidence to support the allegations that he bet both for and against the Reds. It's especially damning that he may have bet against Cincinnati. After all, he could have used his managerial position to influence that result, as we said. So the league dropped potential criminal charges against Rose in exchange for him signing a permanent ban. So he just was banned from participating in the sport in any way, never be a coach again.
Yeah, and barred from the Hall of Fame.
Right, and he's never allowed in the Hall. Well, that comes with the territory,
Yeah,
the Hall of Fame is run by the MLB.
KKK members or vocally racist remain in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Well, I mean, they didn't fucking do anything against baseball. You know what I mean?
Right. Like their racism didn't change the game. You know what I mean? Like this guy,
he did fucking shit. He did fucked up shit in the confines of the sport that's being regulated. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, like those guys being pieces of shit off the field. I mean, like honestly, if you're gonna fucking say racist can't be in the Hall of Fame, then pretty much any baseball player prior to like 1950, whatever the fuck is out.
And knowing what I know about what a great player he was, I think that they should let him in the Hall of Fame with an asterisk or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've heard that take from a lot of people, and I pretty much have to agree. I don't think he should be excluded from it. I think that there was a time period where he should have been, but I think that time period is probably over.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that maybe like once he's dead, they'll like let him in.
Yeah, they
But-
probably will give him like a posthumous entry into it.
All
because
right.
There's no
Yes,
like
I guess
he-
you've been punished enough. You dead now.
there's
so.
no allegations that he cheated during his career, which was, like I said, it's the best career in baseball history. So
Yeah,
you know,
arguably,
he was
but yeah.
a great player. This is Archie Karas. A gambling tragedy can be viewed differently depending on the perspective. Archie Karas would be considered a tragic story by many people. But Karas, who admittedly didn't care much for money, has never had a problem with his gambling addiction, even after blowing $40 million or more. His story is quite amazing when considering that he started one of the greatest gambling runs of all time with a borrowed $50. So he borrowed $10,000 from a poker buddy in 1992, and he ran that amount up to millions of dollars.
Shit.
He would play competitive pool and poker, and that's how he did it.
Well, pool is you know, kind of an
Well, he would
interesting
bet
one.
on pool,
Right.
like he would bet on billiards or whatever. You know what I
So
mean?
he
I
was
don't
not
think he was
actually
a player.
He wasn't playing the game. He was
I
just betting
don't
on
believe so, no.
outcomes. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. But that's at least a game of skill.
Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's skill involved in a lot of casino games, honestly.
Poker too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. Poker, almost especially. He was on such a hot roll that pros began refusing to play him in poker or bet against him in pool. By this time, he'd accumulated a $17 million fortune that could have easily retired him for life.
But he's like, nah.
Instead, he switched to house banked games, so running up huge lines of credit at the casinos, so he could keep finding action. He got lucky in craps and ran his bankroll up to 40 million. So from 17 to 40 million now in 1995. So, you know, this is like a different kind of guy.
Right.
A
This guy is
degenerate
on
gambler, but
the
he's
hottest of hot streaks, basically.
right. He's just on the ultimate fucking streak. He enlisted the help of his brother and security guards to ward off robbers while bringing in just like suitcases of cash to put in his bank at the casino. Eventually, he wouldn't need to worry about this problem because he blew it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I figured that other shoe was about to drop there.
And interestingly enough, his losing streak started when he sat down to play high stakes baccarat for the first time in his life, and he lost $11 million that night.
Shit. In a fucking night?
Yep.
God damn.
So from the ultimate hot streak to the ultimate fucking bad beat.
Yeah,
streak.
maybe baccarat ain't for you, bud.
Yep.
Maybe that one's just not the one. Stick to pool and poker, bro.
He stuck to it. He continued doing, you know, betting his high stakes bets on craps, baccarat, and poker, and his losing streak just continued. And his bankroll at the casinos reached zero by 1996. So in 1 year, basically, he lost it all.
Wow.
Amazingly, he's come back and had several multi-million-dollar runs since 1995. But he always loses it back.
Damn. This guy.
So he'll go on these runs where he's up 2 million, up 3 million or something. And then, you know, 2 weeks later, he's down 3 million.
The only way you could do what this guy does is you literally have to not give a shit about money at all. Like this guy clearly does not give a flying fuck about money one way or the other. Like this is just like he is in it for the pure pleasure of gambling.
Maybe so. I mean, he is on record. I did see quotes from him saying like he just doesn't care about the losses. He doesn't like, it's not about that for him.
Right. I mean, it can't be, because there's just no way that you would have like a normal person would basically be like torn to fucking shreds with stress from doing this multiple times. Like this dude has to just love this.
Well, I mean, what do you think about this then? In 2013, this is the most recent news about him. He was arrested because he was marking cards at San Diego's Barona Casino.
I see.
And he's blacklisted now from all casinos in Nevada where he'd been caught or suspected of cheating a couple of times.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah. Maybe not for the love of the game then. Who knows?
I mean, he probably fucking, it was probably a thrill to fucking get away with that. I mean, you know, if you're a gambler, you know, if your whole thing is like you love fucking, you know, risk and reward and shit, you know, getting, you know, cheating at the game is a fucking another risk that you might fucking feel a little giddy thrill from. Like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
His real
fucking-
name, by the
I'm-
way, is Angarios Karaburanatis.
Karaburanatis.
That's the best I can do.
Karaburanatis. So yeah, he's a cheater.
Yeah, he's you know, I don't know if he I think he settled or whatever. He didn't get time and
Yeah, but he's never gonna be able. He's never gonna be able to do another run.
Not in America. You know what I mean?
Pretty much nowhere. I mean,
I imagine
because like his
right.
reputation is gonna fucking that's always gonna follow him now.
Yep. You recognize this guy at all?
Is this dude like an actor?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay,
Director.
I guess I don't then. Oh, maybe I do that. Yeah, I don't know. Who is this?
David Milch.
Okay.
He wrote Deadwood. He wrote NYPD Blue.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Writer producer. So anyway, he created those.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think he
a
had some kind
former-
of. I think I heard he had some kind of mental debilitation or something.
Well, it might have been this before it was revealed publicly. So
I see.
he was a former English literature professor at Yale.
Mhm.
He's known for his cerebral and unorthodox approach to writing. He's known for using a ton of profanity in his dialogue.
Deadwood is a great fucking show.
Yes, it is. And he has very precise plots.
Yeah.
For
You know,
elevating.
another thing that's great about Deadwood. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's
But the one thing I loved about Deadwood as a show is that every other fucking TV show I watch, it always tries to end on this big like cliffhanger moment, like oh shit, dun dun dun, to like get you to binge the next one and shit.
Right.
But Deadwood doesn't do that shit at all.
Yeah, it's
Deadwood pretty much
almost
just
like Star Trek in that way,
Yeah,
where everything's wrapped up. You know, there's still ongoing things over the course of the season, but like every episode is self-contained and it is
Yeah.
wrapped up by the end of it. You know.
Well, and a lot of times too, like even, you know, like yeah, like the episode plot, but like whatever the like ongoing shit is, like there's no cliffhanger about it. It's just like yeah, we'll continue that next time. See ya. It's very casual about it. Like all right.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty fucking cool in that regard. I don't know. It's like very like low key, I guess, but somehow it's still super bingeable. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
It casts a little spell. It's very unique television. It doesn't feel like any other show.
It's well written. Like the dialogue is well written. It's expertly cast and acted. And it's one of the few properties that there's a different director for every one of those shows.
Yeah.
Like he was the showrunner, but they brought in different and it doesn't feel that way. Although it adds like the bingeability because different directors have different sensibilities about how they shoot. And so the editing pacing might change dramatically from one episode to the next, and it keeps it feeling fresh, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just like a vibe, and like, I don't know. It's very character driven show, and I love Al Swearingen, so
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like really fucking
one of the
amazing.
great anti-heroes of all time.
Yes.
In TV.
But anyway,
for the past few years, he's had an exclusive deal with HBO, and he's in negotiations to renew it.
Mm-hmm.
He's working on an adaptation of Peter Matheson's novel Shadow Country. I've never read it or heard of it. With Jeff Bridges attached to star as a 19th century outlaw Edgar Bloody Watson. So that
sounds fucking cool. I mean,
coming from David Milch too. I mean, it makes me kind of excited. He's also developing a 2-hour. This happened. This was released. So the 2-hour TV movie of Deadwood.
Right. Yeah.
He directed that, developed that. So his downfall is a different kind of gambling we haven't talked about here: horse racing.
Yeah.
He became a regular at California's Santa Anita track, which closed down in 2013 and then reopened recently as a horse track. I think I've got a picture of it.
I've been to the horse track a couple times. Not really my fucking bag and shit. I know that there's like a lot of issues with those races being fixed. At least there used to be. I don't know. There probably still is.
I imagine.
But yeah, I mean, horse racing is pretty fucked. I mean, we've done an episode on how fucked up horse racing actually is behind the scenes too. But you know, just like going to those races and shit. I don't know. It just seems like a bunch of like random chance shit, which I guess gambling ultimately always is.
Yeah.
But you know, like I don't know. I never got the feeling of like, ooh, yeah, you know, that horse is gonna be the one. I feel it in my bones or whatever the fucking bullshit, you know.
Yeah. So his thing apparently is he'll go to the track, he'll stay all day, he'll bet every race.
Oh no,
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on every race.
Yeah, that's not good.
And he'll just go on runs where he does this for weeks at a time.
Yeah. Good recipe to lose whatever money you have.
At one point, it got so bad that he had to stop paying his debts. He got sued. Court documents show that he lost $25 million from 2000 to 2011 just on horse races.
Dude. Oh my God, no, that's too much. You fucked up, bro. That is not right.
It's like a huge, because that's basically his net worth. It's a huge financial fall.
Yeah, I mean, like this guy, he's not Spielberg or something. I mean, this is like a dude. I mean, Deadwood's a good show, but it was never a huge hit. It's
no,
like
I mean, it was canceled, you know?
Right, you know,
So,
and like
before it finished.
NYPD Blue, I guess, was a pretty big show, but yeah, I mean, like he's a writer guy. He's not making the fucking huge bucks. So for him to be spending, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much his net worth, fucking down the fucking pisser on in these horse races, you know.
I mean, he actually gambled so much that he couldn't pay his taxes, and so now he's in huge debt to the IRS for years worth of income that he could not pay, you know, on because he was just blowing it all at the track. But pretty much everything he made is now gone. He's also reported to have about $17 million in tax debt, which is ridiculous.
Oh, no, that's fucking. How did you even do that, dude? I mean, come on.
Apparently, he's agreed to a payment plan with the IRS that he can make. He's had to surrender multiple properties that he and his wife owned. I saw a thing that his wife.
Wait, how the fuck this dude has a wife? This wife he needs to fucking get a stronger wife, because any fucking wife worth her salt would have told this motherfucker to stay the fuck away from the horse track.
Well, how's this? She put him on a $40 allowance.
Yeah.
Every week.
That's the way she should be. That's
what she did because she didn't know.
She should have. Oh, well, I mean, like, she should have fucking found out, because that's fucking. I mean, I'm not trying to blame the woman or something. But you know,
she knew he went to the track, but she had no clue he was blowing 40, 50, 60, 70 grand at a time.
Oh yeah. His ass needs to be on a fucking tight leash. You know, your man, you know, he's got some issues. He's a brilliant dude in some ways, but he's a fucking idiot in others. So you got to fucking put that leash on, man.
Well, I hope that shit with Jeff Bridges comes to fruition. Although
I'm assuming that
a few years ago.
Considering that was a few years back, I'm thinking maybe
probably
no.
not.
What's his name again? David Milch or something?
David Milch, yeah. So this is Art Schlichter, a legendary college football player, quarterback of Ohio State Buckeyes. He led the school to an undefeated regular season in '79 and previously held the Buckeyes record for total offense. I guess he's been beaten since then, but still a high score. Unfortunately for Schlichter, he developed a serious gambling problem while he was in college. Once again, horses and sports were his thing. So he would do the horse track, and then he did a lot of sports betting, apparently. Caused him to be several $1,000s in debt after he graduated Ohio State. Things didn't get any better because he was drafted 4th overall by the Indianapolis Colts in the '82 NFL draft. He was they acquired him because they wanted to groom him to be their future quarterback. He lost his starting job to the unheralded Mike Pagel early on in his career. Schlichter seemed more focused on gambling.
I love that this dude's name is Schlichter.
Yep.
By the way, David Milch currently lives in an assisted living home with Alzheimer's disease, so I don't think you're going to see that. Yeah.
Son of a bitch, man.
I know, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, he frittered away apparently $350,000 worth of his pretty much his entire signing bonus.
Okay. Yeah.
Before the rookie season was over.
Yeah, I'm not a degenerate gambler. I don't understand these people. This is too much. Like, I like fucking, risk a little money or whatever. Like, this is like, fuck my signing bonus. Let's give that to the casino or whatever the fuck.
NFL players actually went on strike in 1982 for a couple of weeks. And apparently, like, while everybody else was wringing their hands, like, what the fuck's going to happen? Are they going to fire us all? Art Schlichter went on an epic gambling bender for the 2 weeks that he was like, 2 weeks off.
Sweet.
Cool, man. Fuck yeah.
I ain't got to work for 2 weeks. Fucking A. Gambling time.
It was on that bender. He lost over $1 million betting on basketball games and horse races.
Oh man, basketball games and fucking horse races, huh? Ugh.
Yep. And he got involved, because he's like in Ohio and making sports bets, which means he wasn't going down to fucking Vegas to place a sports bet legally.
Right.
He's working with a bookie.
Yeah, he's just got he's fucking doing the stupid bookie shit.
He's calling up his bookie and saying, "Hey, I got fucking, $10,000 on the Lakers tonight."
You should just know from movies that you don't fucking want to do that, It's like there's some bad shit, like those dudes they can't, because they're in a fucking illegal industry or whatever. I mean, obviously nowadays sports betting is like whatever. People just do it on fucking FanDuel or whatever the fuck bullshit. But like,
right.
Back in those days, you fucking couldn't pay your sports bet debts. Your bookie fucking sent someone to break your fucking legs.
Well, that's what he was afraid of. Apparently,
right.
He was threatened. It got so bad with one of his bookies that the bookie was starting to talk about him throwing a game in the NFL.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, you got a fucking professional athlete that owes you a bunch of fucking money. You're in the fucking
he's the
you're
quarterback
the sports betting business. It's like,
right.
Come on, right? Like it kind of writes itself.
So at that point, he flipped. Turned state's witness basically, and gave up all of his bookies. But when this happened, the NFL had seen enough. They suspended him until the 1984 season. So they actually allowed him to come back and kept paying him. And his gambling problem got worse when he came back.
So he did not learn his lesson.
No, and rather than let it spin out of control like it did the last time, the Colts just fired him. They basically released him. Nobody would pick his contract up.
Yeah,
nobody wanted him anymore.
Yeah.
He would never play another down in the NFL again, but he continued making headlines for his gambling problem. He eventually sunk to conning his friends and family out of money for fake investments and shit so that he could go make wild bets.
He got to he really fucking had no self-control at all.
No, this was the essence of a degenerate gambler. Basically,
right. So
ruined his fucking life.
This guy threw away, I don't know. I guess a pretty promising career in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's just destroyed every relationship he had. I mean,
he would have been a multi-millionaire easy, because he probably would have played for 6 or 7 more years, maybe. He would have been, but he destroyed it all and destroyed all his close relationships by conning his friends and family.
He literally sabotaged his entire life to fucking gamble, So that's pretty crazy.
In 2011, he pleaded guilty to theft and other charges, sentenced to 10 years in prison, which would mean that he got out last year.
Hmm.
This is kind of a mysterious one. Pretty interesting. This is the only picture of this guy that you can find.
I was about to say, it's a pretty blurry one too.
Yeah, you can tell it's like an old ass fucking picture. And who knows from where?
Pixely and blown up and shit. Yeah. Who's this guy?
Yeah, this is Akio Kashiwagi is his name. A Tokyo property developer who, among other things, was known for being a complete nut about privacy. He would not allow himself to be photographed anywhere that he went.
That explains why there's only this one photo, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't even know where this is from, but this is the only photo of him that you can find.
This looks like it's maybe a passport photo or something like that.
It probably is. Something that's on file in the States or some shit.
Yeah.
He was known as the warrior at casinos because he claimed $1 billion in assets. He made about $100 million annually, so money was not a real problem for him. And he became one of the biggest so-called whales in Atlantic City. They called him the Warrior. He commonly wagered between $100,000 and $200,000 per hand while playing baccarat. He usually bet on credit, settled his debt with the casino afterwards if he lost, which he routinely did.
Sure. No one wins everything.
Given his reputation, he was commonly granted huge credit lines. They just give him $1 million credit line when he showed up to the casino. He, like, you've heard of like regulars and people that spend a lot of money in the casinos getting special. Obviously, they get comps, free rooms, free meals, free tickets to shows. This guy was the ultimate version of that. When he showed up at the casino, they just gave him $1 million of their money to gamble with. They're like, here's $1 million and, a suite of rooms to yourself. And so he was one of those guys. Because he had so much money, because he was so heavily banked, he was also given the chance to negotiate special deals with the casino. And he actually made one with none other than our president, Donald J. Trump.
Dun 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 dun. I feel so patriotic seeing this man. Yes.
Trump actually headhunted this guy. He heard about this guy and how much money he was blowing in casinos, and he was like, I want to bring him to the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City.
Right.
And his casino,
because Trump was not doing well in the casino business.
And his casino executive was like, bad idea. I mean, this guy could shut us down. Like he bets 4,000 or 400,000 a hand. The payout on that's 1.2 million. He hits 20 of those and we're fucked.
Right.
But Donald Trump was apparently dogged. And Kashiwagi, in turn, was apparently eager to match stakes with the famous Donald Trump. John O'Donnell, then the casino's chief operating officer, wrote in a memoir. So these two guys, two rich guys, and they wanted to have a dick measuring contest, basically.
Yeah.
Like Kashiwagi wanted to go shut out fucking the lights of the Taj Mahal. And Trump wanted to beat the biggest high stakes gambler in the world, basically.
Right.
In true Trump fashion, when Kashiwagi arrived in Atlantic City, Trump greeted him personally on the tarmac with an autographed copy of The Art of the Deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's worth
its weight in gold.
Tens of dollars.
Things got off to an odd start, as they often seem to with Trump. He would later recall in his own memoir that Kashiwagi retired to his bi-level penthouse suite featuring ocean views, butler service, a grand piano, and an $800,000 jade Buddha on display. And he didn't come out or gamble for 2 days.
Just hanging out in his little room there.
Yep.
Getting psyched up or whatever the fuck.
Finally, he reappeared on a Friday night. Piles of $5,000 chips awaited him at the table reserved for his play.
Mm-hmm.
One $250,000 stack stood over a foot high, according to Trump's account. With his black hair slicked back, Kashiwagi played a marathon session at the table, back-to-back marathon sessions, in fact, which he had a table that was roped off for his own private use. So nobody could join the baccarat table. It was him and the dealer and his security.
Mm-hmm.
Trump even hired a Japanese chef, flew a chef from Japan,
right,
to cook this guy's favorite food for him while he sat at the casino.
Yeah, I mean, because this, it makes sense. Yeah, this guy is getting the fucking royal treatment because he's there to either spend a shit ton of money or, fucking bankrupt your casino. So,
right. Even though he was playing the highest stakes, that a lot of people have ever heard of, he cut a modest profile. He would sit at the table and sip tea. He would, the people around, he had his own table roped off, but all the people in the baccarat area are, tuxedo clad gentlemen and shit. And he would be in like a rumpled blue shirt, plain black slippers, plain blue jeans. Like he just dressed like a slob, basically.
Yeah.
When he gambled.
He's just like dressed like a normal dude. And he's not. There's nothing special about it to him. He's just like, yeah, sure.
Trump,
I'm here to I'm here to gamble, millions of dollars, whatever.
Trump said in his memoir that he had the look of a quarter slot machine player just off the bus from Hoboken.
Yeah, that's not Trump's turn of phrase, by the way. That's his ghostwriter.
Yeah, for sure.
Trump has never said anything even
That goes
remotely
without
approaching
saying.
that level of eloquence. But yeah.
So according to Trump, from the very first hand, Kashiwagi started beating the hell out of him.
The gambler who took Trump for $9 million.
Yep.
I don't really know where the hell he comes from. I don't know. Don't you?
Japan?
Yeah, I thought it was Japan. That's what I heard. I don't know.
What the hell am I doing? I asked myself. He wrote, cash flow is way down, and I'm playing with a guy who could win 40 or 50 million in just a matter of days.
Yeah,
Suddenly it
they
became
warned you
clear.
about that, dumbass.
Yeah. Suddenly it became clear that this was a PR triumph that could put the Trump Plaza out of business. Every casino game has a built-in advantage for the house, but Trump grew alarmed as focused on the fact that Baccarat has one of the narrowest dealer edges in gambling.
Which is why these guys are attracted to it.
Right. At that moment, I realized for the first time that I had become the gambler, Trump wrote. Yes, he had speculated on real estate based on sound judgment, but this has nothing to do with logic or reason. I was merely sitting on the sidelines watching as one of the best gamblers in the world played against me for $250,000 a hand, 70 times an hour.
I kind of love it. A lot of people are in the chat are saying this should be a fucking movie, and I'm kind of inclined to agree.
Well, we'll get to that. It actually was woven into a movie at some point, and I'll talk about that here in a sec. Maybe not entirely as it should be, but we'll talk about it.
Is it one of those? Was it one of those Oceans movies? Because I kind of feel like this is similar to the plot of one of those Oceans 15, 17, 93, whatever the fuck.
No, we'll see what it was. With $6 million, he soon decided he'd had enough. He was up $6 million. He became irritable. There were a lot of people gawking near the table, which he didn't like. He didn't feel like that was his little area was private enough. And so he abruptly just stood up, said, "I'm going back to Tokyo." And he's got $6 million of Trump's money in his pocket. Trump is quoted as saying, "He quit, Jack? What the fuck?" Which he said to O'Donnell, who famously had warned him against having the fucking guy come in the first place, because this is probably what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Trump had expected Kashiwagi to play for several days in a row. He'd only played 2 days. This is actually the character you might remember from Casino.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In the first third of Casino, there's this little explanation of what a whale is. And this guy's name is KK Ichikawa in the film. But he was based on Akio Kashiwagi. Because in Casino, this character sits down, beats the house at Baccarat, flies away, but then they send, he's riding their private plane back to Japan, and they fake a mechanical failure and apologetically offer him a whole suite of rooms to himself while he waits, to the next day till they can get it fixed. Yeah. And that gets him back in the casino, and he gives back his winnings, basically.
Yeah, they trick him into losing it back.
And that's the reason why he's in the film is because of what Donald Trump did in response to getting beaten. Donald Trump doubled down. He immediately called Kashiwagi to make a return visit, like a heavyweight boxing rematch. One Trump executive even publicly proposed a date for Kashiwagi's return, December 7th, which is the anniversary of Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor.
Oh, damn. Okay.
The deal was that Kashiwagi would keep playing high-stakes Baccarat until he either won or lost $12 million. That was what he proposed. He's like, "Hey, you come in, we'll bankroll you. You either get $12 million or you lose $12 million. Are you man enough to do it?" Yeah. He was. He started out by winning $10 million, which made Trump nervous, but his luck eventually went south.
Shit.
And he gave back. Trump actually cut off the game when he was in the whole $10 million. Trump was like, I can't in good conscience let you keep playing. You owe us too much money. And this obviously pissed off Kashiwagi. He left the casino with his remaining $2 million that he brought for his bankroll, and just completely ran out on the debt. And he would never pay back his losses either. Because he was murdered in his Japan home near Mount Fuji in January of 1992. Get this. His body was found riddled with 150 wounds from a samurai sword.
What?
He was found in his mansion at the base of Mount Fuji with 150 sword slashes all over his body.
Okay.
And that's
what the fuck?
I looked into it and I was like, have they solved this? Nope. They have no fucking clue who did it.
Japan does not solve murders, just so you know.
It might have been Trump, dude. Trump's
Yeah,
like,
you think
fucking
Trump's
hire a ninja.
All right. Then hire a fucking Shogun assassin. He won't pay me my money. Fuck him.
So,
oh man, brutal.
we're going to take a look at possibly, just in terms of dollar amounts, probably the most degenerate gambler of all tonight.
But do you recall the most degenerate gambler of all?
This is Terrance Watanabe.
Cool.
I hadn't heard of his company, but apparently it's a huge company called Oriental Trading. It's one of the largest companies in direct and like for direct sales of products. It's like an Amazon type of company.
Yeah.
That has deals on weird stuff and ships globally and all that shit. So he played a big role in Oriental Trading's rise to prominence. In 1982, he took a controlling stake in the family business, built it into a wholesaling giant. Turns over about $300 million annually. So I guess this is the website. You know.
Okay.
Oriental Trading is still a thing, apparently.
I mean, yeah,
he sold
big
it.
Company. Sure.
He actually sold the whole company in the year 2000 for an undisclosed amount, probably $1 billion deal. Up until that point, he'd always concentrated on business over pleasure, but once he sold the company, he changed his ways. He felt like he had so much money.
Kind of missed that high stakes environment of, you know, running a giant company, you know.
I mean, probably so.
Got to do something with my time. Gambling is as good a thing as any, I guess.
He was reported to just say that he felt like he could never lose all of his money. And I guess he's right. Because he didn't. He'd lose it all. He began playing a variety of casino games. He would basically play everything from slot machines to Keno to roulette to all the card games. He was just a generalist.
He should have found his game. His first mistake. You got to find your fucking game.
He liked it all. Look at this fucking goofus, man.
I know. He does not look like a dude who had hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah.
Probably a billionaire. You know, we don't know for sure, but
he looks like
he had enough money to do this shit.
I kind of want that piece of chicken he's eating, but whatever.
It does look pretty decent. He differed from many high rollers who usually, like TJ said, focus on a game or two that have low house edges like blackjack and baccarat.
Yeah.
He instead seemed to prefer the games that had a large house edge, like slot machines and Keno.
Yeah,
shit like that.
Well, I mean, so the thing about it is, the attraction of those games is that you can win gigantic fucking amounts of money,
right?
Because you know, it's typically the case that like higher risk, higher reward, lower risk, lower reward, kind of how it operates. So
but the casinos loved him for this. There was no worry.
Yeah, I mean, like you had you got a billionaire who's not even like. There's a reason all these billionaires are like, oh yeah, baccarat, blackjack, and you know shit like that. These, you know, some guy that just shows up like, oh yeah, Keno. It's like, oh fuck, that's
this guy. This guy was not like the last guy, Akio Kashiwagi. He had probably just as much money, but the casinos actually liked having him. They weren't worried about him being there because
he was a loser,
right? Because he was going to play the games where they were just guaranteed to at least break even with him, if not take some of his money.
Right. I mean, like there was always a chance he was going to win big, but
he's coming back anyway to do it. He's going to give it back next time. You know what I mean? He's playing the worst games in the casino for that.
Mm-hmm.
They in reaction to him coming, obviously they did the same thing. They showered him with comps. He gambled heavily in their casinos throughout the mid 2000s. Watanabe didn't beat the odds either. He lost a vast amount of money, over $120 million, and that's just in 2007.
That makes total sense.
So you can assume that he probably blew about $100 million a year from 2000 to 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So that's close to $1 billion.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, that's insane.
playing Keno and slot machines and shit.
I mean, like, okay, so like, I'm looking at some of the odds of some of these games here, all right? So like, odds of winning blackjack 49%, right?
Right.
Odds of winning craps nearly 50%, roulette nearly 50%. You know, and then you look at the worst games. It's like big 6-wheel Wheel of Fortune, 26 to 39%. Slot machines, you know, 1 in fucking, at least as far as major jackpots go, like 1 in 50 million, basically.
Yeah,
It's insanely low. Poker odds vary dramatically based on like the conditions of the game and stuff. I don't know what the Keno odds are. Let me see. Keno odds. I'm looking at Keno. Odds of let's see. Odds Keno prizes and odds for BC. I don't know what BC is here, but I'm assuming the odds are fucking astronomically low. I don't know much about the game of Keno. You play fewer spots in Keno to avoid the outrageous odds. In Keno, the house draws 20 numbers of 1 to 80 inclusive, while you predict which of those numbers will appear. So yeah, that's a sucker's bet right there.
Oh yeah,
you have a fucking moron. Okay, so the odds of hitting a 15 spot, that means hitting every fucking number.
Right.
About 428 billion to 1. I mean, like, it's literally the odds of winning the Powerball are higher.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's an insanely
if you do hit it,
fucking bet. I mean, yeah, if you hit it, it's fucking yeah, but you're not going to.
But what if you do though? What if you do, TJ?
I mean, then you're a fucking monkey's uncle, dude. That's insane.
So his losses, as most likely happens to most of the people that are like this, they eventually spiraled out of his control, and he got to the point where he couldn't cover them anymore.
Yeah.
Caesar's Palace took him to court over $14.75 million in bad checks that he wrote to cover his losses.
Oh, fuck.
But he was pretty smart about it. He countersued him.
Oh,
he said he countersued him, and he said they supplied him with illegal drugs to keep him on the tables all night.
Oh, shit.
And the Nevada Gaming Commission fined Caesars $225,000 for allowing him to use illegal drugs on the property.
Oh, man.
And
smart.
Also allowing him to make, quote, inappropriate sexual advances towards Caesars.
Oh, yeah.
Or towards Caesar's employees.
Yeah, they should never have let me do that. What a fucking brilliant piece of shit. Goes there, does a bunch of like drugs and harasses their employees, and then is like, you know, they shouldn't let me do that. Really, this is their fault.
Yep.
What a genius.
And he settled out of court with them for an undisclosed amount. He probably ended up making money on it.
My God, I've never seen someone, he literally sexually harassed their employees and then fucking sued them for letting him do it. Oh my God, what a fucking boss.
Yep.
What a baller. What a Chad. Holy shit. Fuck.
Look at him, dude, in his fucking flip-flops and ripped mom jeans, sitting there just eating chicken, being the fucking... like
what a
being
fucking
the biggest scam artist in history.
What a grandiose son of a bitch. I salute you, sir. Holy shit. What a legend.
So that is Degenerate Gamblers. There's quite a few more of these if people are interested.
Oh,
we can do another one of these.
Sure, there's but someone told me Ben Affleck.
Oh,
someone in the chat said Ben Affleck fucking got caught card counting or some shit. I didn't hear about that shit.
He's had some I think he's had some problems with gambling as well. He came up in my research, but he didn't have the big numbers, you know.
Yeah,
at least that people know about. Maybe in 10 years he'll be a big story. The Secret Life of Ben Affleck. But anyway, that's our show, I guess. So we're about to head over to do a grease trap, which is me and Tita are just going to sit around, shoot the shit for an hour or so. Maybe even more. Depends. So we'll be
And,
live over there 10, 15 minutes probably. So you've got
Yep.
time to sign up if you want and check it
Go
out.
sign up for the Patreon, and you can watch us yammer. And then, are we doing a patrons only onion nuggets this week, or is that public?
I
can't
don't
remember.
know. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah,
'Cause I
so
don't know right off
I'm
the
not
top
sure.
of my head.
Our onion nuggets every other week are also patrons only, and every Friday we do patrons only shows with all 3 members of the cast. So check that shit out. It's
Sweet.
definitely worth it to join our Patreon. Pretty fucking cheap at $7 a month. And if you don't want to be a monthly guy, you can just join for a month and check out what we got. Giant fucking back catalog of content there, and we'll see you guys there in about 15 minutes.
Bye.